ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्यति नामिनि। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे नित्यानंद नमस्तुभ्यं प्रेमानंदप्रदायिने कलौ कल्मषनाशाय जानवापते नमः। ओम महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we are discussing from chapter 2 and verse number 55. So in verse number 54, for the benefit of all of us, Arjuna asks this question to Krishna. Sthita pragyasya ka bhasa. What is the language of Sthita pragya? This is the question asked by Arjuna. He wants to get confirmed by Supreme Lord himself that who is actually Sthita pragya. Sthita pragya means whose intelligence is firmly fixed in Krishna alone. One who is fully Krishna conscious personality. So Arjuna wants to know it for certain, in certain, without any doubt. So Krishna, who can be better authority than Krishna? Krishna can tell, yeah, he is perfectly Krishna conscious, means he is perfectly conscious of me. So you take shelter of him, you will advance in Krishna consciousness. So that's why Arjuna is asking, Sthit Pragyasya Ka Bhasa? What is the language of a fully Krishna conscious person? Samadhi Sthit Istasya Keshava. Sthit Pragyasya, who is Samadhi Istasya. Samadhi Istasya means whose consciousness is completely 24 by 7 merged in Krishna alone. Samadhi means one who is always absorbed in thinking about the Supreme Lord or serving him. That is Samadhi. Sthitadhi Kim Prabhaset. How does he speak? Sthitadhi. Such a person will have Sthitadhi. Sthitadhi means his intelligence will be completely fixed. So how does he speak? And Kim Asit, how does he sit? कैसे बैठता है? How does he sit? And Vrajet Kim, how does he walk? So what is the meaning of this? That we'll discuss. But first and foremost thing, which Prabhupada wrote in the purport in this verse only, that so any person can be known how he speaks. So this is the most important symptom of a man in Krishna consciousness, that he speaks only about Krishna. This Prabhupada in the purport he gave us. Lord Krishna will speak for us. So now today's verse is verse number 55. Lord Krishna starts to speak. And Lord Krishna is now giving us the symptoms of such a person who is perfectly situated in pure spiritual platform, fully Krishna conscious person. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parth manogataan atmanevatmana tushta sthita pragyas tadocchate. The Supreme Personality of God had said, O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind thus purified finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So Lord Krishna said, Prajahati Jada Kama. Jada Kama means means Kaman means lusty desire. Material desires are known as Kaman. Kam. Kam or Kaman, the same thing. Material desires. Desires means desires. Material desire means this is a desire for sense gratification. This is all the meaning of material desire. Material desire means desire for sense enjoyment. That is material desire. So, Prajahati. Jahati means gives up. The word Jahati. In Bhagavad also these words come. Uh, Ujjahati. Dharma. Dharma Projita Kaitavatra Ujjita. Same thing. Ujjati. Ujjita. Ujjita or Jahati. The same thing. Gives up. Pra means Prakrist Rupen. Completely. So Prajahati means one who can completely give up, completely reject. In other words, we can say when one who can completely give up Kaman, Sarvan, Sarvan Kaman, not that just sinful Kaman, Sarvan Kaman. Actually, all Kamans are sinful only. Kaman means desire for sense gratification, material desire. But at material level, these Kaman or material desires have been is categorized in two varieties: sinful Kaman and pious Kaman. sinful desire, sinful desires for sense enjoyment, and pious desire for sense enjoyment. Any person who is situated on a spiritual platform, he will understand what is this nonsense. This is same thing, Baba. Desire for sense enjoyment is Kaman only. It's bad only. Doesn't matter. It is pious or impious. Srila Prabhupada said, wet stool and dry stool. What is the difference? Stool is a stool, dirty substance. But a person who is attracted towards the stool, so he categorizes like this. No, no, this is wet stool. This is bad. But this is dry stool. This is good. We can take this. But what is the use? I'm sorry, I'm giving this very rough example. But this is very important to understand what can be done. In order to make us understand, sometimes the scriptures or acharyas, they give us example, very graphic example, so that we can nicely relate. Otherwise, because because I would not say our, but mine, because my head is filled with cow dung, so it cannot understand immediately very nice principles of the scriptures. So, in order to inject the spiritual principles, inject these teachings of the scriptures, reality, truth of this material existence. Our acharyas and scriptures sometimes they use such kind of example, which may appear to be very awkward example. But anyway, we do not hesitate to discuss. So this dry stool and wet stool, there is no much difference. No much what to speak of much. There is no difference at all. This is all nasty, dirty substance. Any gentleman will not touch a stool, especially a stool of a human being. Stool of cow is pure. That is very interesting. We cannot argue. Huh? Don't put this question after the discussion that stool of cow dung means stool of cow is worshipable. We use it for worship. So that is different case. Here we are taking example of a stool of some other another animal or a human being, not cow. So don't mix up. खिचड़ी मत बनाना. Analogies are given for the purpose of making a certain point understandable, and in order to make that point understandable, certain aspects or certain attribute of a particular analogy is discussed. So only our duty is to focus on that particular aspect, that particular attribute, not mix all other things. Uh, Otherwise, everything will be khichdi and we cannot understand. So, so any sane person, any gentleman would not touch whether it is dry stool or wet stool. It's not that wet stool is bad. Dry stool is good. Wet stool, it smells very bad, and if you touch it, your hand will be dirty. So it should be avoided. And dry stool, you can keep it in your pocket because it does not smell so bad, and you can touch it. Your hand will not be dirty. But a Brahmana or any gentleman will understand as soon as you touch a stool, even it is dry, and your hand apparently it appears that your hand is not getting dirty. But still you need to take bath with clothes. Uh, If you touch a stool of an animal other than cow or a human being, you must take bath. That's why according to Vedic culture, after passing a stool, we should take bath. With that is the injunction to maintain the purity. Similarly, any kind of kaman, whether dry kaman or wet kaman, I mean, this sinful material desires or pious material desires, all are dirty. All are dirty. And if any living entities touches any of the whether pious or impious material desires, he becomes dirty. He is contaminated. He is contaminated, so he cannot properly execute his Krishna consciousness. That's all. He has to take bath. He has to take bath in the holy river, holy nectarian water of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. That's why. So those who are sinful people, they also require to take shelter of Krishna's holy name. And those who are so-called good, pious people, they are also bad or impious. From a spiritual point of view, a person who is so-called named pious person, dharmic person, religious person, or good person, moral person, ethical person, or what are all other names? So many names they may go on, but they are all bad persons or sinful person according to definition of the Shastra. Why it is so? Because within the core of their heart, they are maintaining the sinful propensity, the dirt of this material enjoyment. The desire for sense enjoyment is there within the heart. One is doing it in a sinful way, and another person is doing it in a what you say pious way. But there's no much difference. The same thing. So this is called kaman. That's why Lord Krishna is using the word kaman sarvan. So sthita pragyastad. Sthit pragya means a person who is fully situated in pure form of Krishna consciousness. That such a person is sthit pragya. So a person who is situated on a spiritual platform or on the platform of complete self-realization. Such a person, he gives up. He gives up all kinds of materialism. All kinds of material desire means this both material desires for sense enjoyment, uh, sinfully, and on pious platform. Pious material desires and as well as sinful material desires. So what is sinful material desire? Sinful kaman? Sinful kamans are which impels a person to break four related principles. Just like having illicit connection, illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, gambling, all these things. All these things are like wet stool, which smells very bad. And upon touching it, your hands will be completely dirty. So obviously, these kind of material desires, sinful material desires, breaking four regulative principles, one must avoid it by all means. It's not at all good. But those uh, material desires cultivated in the name of pious activity, in the name of religious activity, that is also uh, kaman, lusty desire. That also has to be given up. So what are the examples of such pious material desires? Yes, I wish you should speak because if I speak, some might become angry. Okay, so there may be some examples. A person who may be performing pious activity for the purpose of sense gratification, but if somehow or other, because of his great fortune, if he meets a sadhu, a Vaishnava, so the Vaishnava devotee, he may turn his propensity towards Krishna. So, because immediately it's not possible to change one's heart from sense enjoyment tendency to service attitude. That's not possible. But a Vaishnava is expert enough to dovetail his enjoying propensity in relation to Krishna. And in this way, such a person becomes very fortunate and gradually his heart becomes purified and he is no more, he no more maintains those material desires. He gives up all material desires and fully surrenders to Krishna. So that is what you say, uh, that that is a turning point. Otherwise, if there is no relation to the service of Krishna, then all so-called past activities are just useless waste of time. Just there is no much difference. There is no difference between the sinful material desires and this past material desire. The same thing. Quality is the same thing, but that's the just packaging is different. That's all. That's why uh, anything. That's why in Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami says, Akamo sarva kamo va moksha kamo udarat. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham para. Even if somebody has so many material desires, he cannot give it up. But still, the recommendation is that he must use it for the service of Krishna. Using, by all means, he must very intensely yajeta purusham param. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. One must worship or serve become devoted to Supreme Lord Krishna with full intensity, even if he has so many material desires. So that what will happen? That intense devotional service to Krishna has the potential to destroy this tendency, and one day he will become completely pure soul because he will get the strength to give up those kama, all material desires. He will get the strength because one who is entangled in this material existence by on his own strength he cannot give up. So Lord Krishna is telling, always remember these verses beginning from this particular verse and onward verse till verse number 72. So whatever we are going to discuss, we are discussing the symptoms of a completely self-realized soul. So we cannot follow their examples right now, but that is our goal. By one's own effort, one cannot adopt these things. These symptoms one cannot practice or imitate by one's own effort. But by desiring to become like this, and for the purpose of for the purpose of getting situated in highest platform of self-realization, then one can take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, and by his mercy, by Krishna's mercy, when one gets the spiritual strength, then he can also come to this stage. Because it's not so easy thing. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan. This single one line. This is the beginning. Lord Krishna is telling. Sthit pragya se ka bhasa Arjuna asked. The symptoms of a sthit pragya devotee. A fully pure Krishna conscious devotee. The very first line, the very first thing Lord Krishna spoke, it is impossible for any ordinary person. It is impossible for any living entity. It is impossible for demigods also. Demigods also cannot fully give up all the material desires. What to speak of human beings? Only a person who decides that I'll take firm shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Am tarishyami duranta param tamo mukundam grainishyeva. Just like Avantipur Brahmin, he said, I will, I will deliver myself from the designs of material existence. What is the designs of material existence? This enjoying tendency to enjoy material sense gratification desire. I will cross over this by taking firm shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. That was the determination of Avantipur Brahmin, and he did it. So this is very important. So we should not be discouraged by hearing all this description of the symptoms of a fully self-realized this is pragya personality. But this can be achieved not by our effort, but these discussions are given here. Why this information is given? So that we can also aspire to become like this. This is one important reason, purpose, why Krishna is speaking, why Arjuna is asking. This is one thing. So that we can aspire to become like them. And second thing, we can find out, identify who is actually situated in that emotional limited platform so that we can take a shelter and become, we can also come to this platform. So with these two purpose, Lord Krishna is speaking in detail. So we should hear very carefully because these are very strong teachings, but we may not be discouraged, but rather we should develop the desire how we can also someday, by taking from shelter of Krishna lotus feet, come to this platform. Anyway, so we started. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan. Sarvan kaman prajahati. Prajahati means prakrishupena jahati. It's completely not that, okay, I will give up this 99.9999% material desire, but this one material desire, 0.00001% project I want to keep. No, everything he wants to give up. Everything. Just like there are sometimes some devotee, they say, Prabhuji, I will follow all four relative principles, but just this one thing, I cannot give up tea, and everything else I will follow. I will give up onion garlic, coffee, and meat eating, eggs, illicit connection, everything I will. But just one thing, uh, tea I cannot give. So, but no, Prajahati means all. This is just gross example I gave, but that applies to certain level also. I have no desire for anything, Prabhuji. I do not want anything in life. I have no ambitions. I do not want a very beautiful woman, huge amount of means money, lots of followers. No, I have no desire. But my only desire is I want to see my parents happy materially also. So this is also 0.001%. Uh, and then so many things, so many examples. I can I can give up everything, but not this. So okay, in Krishna consciousness, we do not discourage. We accept somebody, even if somebody has some material desires to fulfill, but if it does not prohibit these four regulative principles, if it does not break the four regulative principles, then that's all right, no problem. Gradually, one can take initiation and one can gradually advance towards perfection, no problem. That's why initiation means it's beginning. So one is allowed to get initiated. One is allowed to come on the path of Krishna consciousness with seriousness. Even if somebody has certain material desires to fulfill, which he cannot give up immediately, but which he expects, which he desires to become free eventually. But of course, those material desires which are against four regulative principles, means which may break one's this principle, four regulative principle, that must be given up. There is no compromise with those. So, but fully self-realized, when one has achieved perfectional stage, the symptom of such a person is that he will prajahati yada kaman sarvan kaman, he will completely give up, not just 99.999% give up. 100% he will give up all kinds of material desires. And when he will give up yada kaman, yada means as soon as it arises within the heart, not that contemplating for some time and then giving up. Not that trying to enjoy a certain aspect of those material desires and then giving up. No. Yada means when, as soon as it is generated, where manogata, the mind, sthitadhi person, the sthit pragya devotee, he gives up it immediately. So okay, we'll discuss more about it tomorrow. the sarva and kama, which are generated within the mind. So how it is produced within the mind? What are its qualities? And we'll also discuss how to give it up. Although, yes, that is mentioned. Atmani eva atmanantushta. Sthit pragya saprodakshita. Thank you very much. We'll stop here. If you have any questions, you can ask. Hare